The Milwaukee Bucks currently are on a 12-game win streak, boasting an insanely impressive record of 41-17, just one game in the win column behind the Boston Celtics, who look to be running away with this one seed at one point in this year. The Bucks, they've had a lot of injury woes this season and a lot of moving pieces and even some new pieces coming in. But one thing that has stayed dominantly consistent over this entire season is the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokoumpo, and I honestly feel like throughout his dominance and throughout this season, due to other people performing at such high levels like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid and Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum, Giannis being as great as he has for so long as he has been, it feels like it's almost been swept under the rug and underappreciated what he's been doing this season. So today we talk Bucks basketball and ask the question, has Giannis Antetokoumpo become underrated? Before we get into this video, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for the support on last video. We have a lot of new faces tuning into this channel, and if you are a new face here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy long or short form NBA related content, then this is the place for you. Without further ado, let's get straight into this video. First things first, let's talk about Giannis's dominance on the surface level this season. Giannis has had 11 games this season with above 40 points and 3 games with above 50 points. He's currently averaging 32 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists a night on 47 games, and the Bucks have only played 57 games, so he's only missed 10. Aside from his offensive dominance, he's also a force to be reckoned with on defense. Him and his teammate Brook Lopez have been looking amazing in the low post. What's even more impressive is for how big and present he is in most of the low post baskets. He stays out of foul trouble, even playing a lot of minutes. He's only averaging a little over 3 fouls a game, and he's playing 33 minutes a night. Some nights he's playing almost 45 minutes a night. And then there's someone like Jaren Jackson Jr., who's looked at as one of the best defenders in the NBA, but he just cannot stay out of foul trouble. And he averages almost 4 fouls in 26 minutes. And I've seen countless times, just the other night when I was watching the Celtics games, he'll go into the fourth quarter with 5 fouls and only 19 minutes played. And you see Taylor Jenkins is kind of nervous to put him back out there, even though he needs that body out there. I really do hope Jaren fixes his foul troubles. But that's not about Jaren. Today's video is about Giannis. On top of Giannis's dominance on both sides of the ball, the other night against the Chicago Bulls, he just broke the record and became the Bucks' all-time leader in assists, which now makes him both the leader all-time in the Bucks franchise for points and assists. Really, really impressive. What's remarkable about these accomplishments and his current status in the league is how young he is while doing all of this. Giannis is only 28 years old, and with how modern medicine works and how much money athletes spend on recovery and resting their bodies, I wouldn't be shocked if he could continue his averages to carry them for another 7 or 8 years until he's at that 35 age, and even then he could still be just as good. 28 is usually when NBA players are hitting their prime, 26, 28, that's that sweet spot. But Giannis is already a 2-time MVP, a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, an NBA champion, and a Finals MVP, and he was a member of the 75th, All-NBA top 75 players of all time. He has surpassed pretty much every expectation that anyone's had for him. And honestly, I don't think he gets talked about enough because his game is so simple and boring, as he says. I personally don't agree, but Giannis said in an interview, "I want to get in a position where my game is boring. I just do what I do and people don't talk about it because it becomes boring. I do it every single night. That's what I want to do. I want other people to feel like my game is boring." As long as he's dropping 40 or 50 points and dunking all over your favorite player, I don't see how that game can become boring. But I do agree with his sentiment. It seems like the media is kind of sick. Harden had that remark a couple years ago saying all he does is run and dunk. He's 7 feet tall, blah, blah, blah. I digress. And it's really what it's come to be. If you watch Milwaukee basketball, you'll see him just continue to dominate and expand his game and expand his range, yet he doesn't get nearly the press that he used to when he was on the come up. And this just comes with voters fatigue and people wanting to move on to the next thing. But Giannis could very well continue to be the next thing. A question I have for all of you watching this video outside of is Giannis becoming underrated is, can Giannis become a top 10 player of all time? time? I personally think it's a hard ask, because that means you're ranking him in the same tier as the Wilt Chamberlains, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Larry Birds, the Tim Duncan. And if you have him even higher in the top 5 players, obviously this isn't, you know, any concrete list or anything, but then you're talking about the Magic Johnsons and the Kobe Bryants and LeBron Jameses and Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and the Michael Jordans of the world. It's crazy when you think about it, because the man is only 28 years old and has such a crazy resume. I mean, his resume is already on the level of guys like Hakeem Olajuwon and, you know, Larry Bird. He's almost catching up to, and Magic Johnson he's almost catching up to. I personally think he could be a top 10 player of all time, especially if we're talking in that 6 to 10 range. And especially if he continues to dominate the stats as he has been and buff up his resume even more. For me, I think winning is the most important part of being an all-time great. An all-time great, they continue to win and win and win continuously at the highest level. The NBA is just crazy talented right now. At points, they come and go in huge amounts, especially compared to back then, because there's barely any defense played in today's game. But what do you guys think? Can Giannis become a top 10 player of all time? Is Giannis becoming underrated? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your guys' support on these videos. It really means the world to me. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.